Your Royal Highness, Princess Michael of Kent, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen. I have been inspired by 19th century Orientalist painters. These early Orientalist traveler painters I call early globalists. They traveled to discover and communicate, but with understanding. In today's world, we are very connected, but as much as we are connected, we do not have much more understanding. But I do know that we are living today in a world of increasing conflict and misperception. And remember, for evil to prevail, it just takes good men and women to do nothing. Hence, my foundation is launching this initiative to be able to give the future generations the tools to at least make this world a better place. I'm still a great believer in people-to-people communication. That is why this initiative is about taking young people from the United States to my part of the world and taking young people from Egypt and the Arab world and bringing them here to the United States. And with partners like yourselves, many in this room, we can turn this small ripple of bridge building into a tidal wave.
It is really wonderful to be here and to be able to do this. An honor that Shafiq asked me to be a part of it. The concept of bridge building, especially right now, given what I do at CNN, when all we're covering is conflict in Gaza and conflict in Syria and conflict with the Constitution in Egypt and all other sorts of problems, it is really wonderful to talk about bridge building.
In my mind, the 19th century painters who went to Europe, to the Middle East to paint these wonderful exotic subjects were great communicators and accurate. These artists were superbly accurate in what they did. As a record of what people wore and how they lived, I think they're unsurpassed.
I suspect when Shafiq bought his first painting, he didn't buy it because he specifically thought it was a beautiful piece, which it is, but because it told him a story. It told him a story about the past, and I think these paintings are a window into storytelling about the future.
I believe that knowing each other and getting to love each other and to have this affection towards each other, this is what all humanity is all about.
Despite all this information that we have now, television, satellite television, BlackBerry and all that, our understanding remains still very incomplete. A lot of people in the world still have very distorted view of how the other side lives. So I think the need for a dialogue and direct contact cannot be overemphasized.
There is no substitute for direct interaction, and it is the sense of talking to each other that will create the hope of the future.
Great minds discuss ideas. Average minds discuss events. And small minds discuss people. Yeah. And how often today are we consumed by bloody gossip and the trivialism of people rather than the great idea, the great proposition?
In Islam, the first phrase we say, Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim, which is in the name of God, the passionate. So, passion is innate with our culture, is innate with our heritage, is innate with our religion. Art is a manifestation of passion, is a manifestation of giving to your community. I believe we have to continue the dialogue of civilizations.
Travel is fatal to bigotry, prejudice, and narrow-mindedness. Mark Twain.
The Orientalists, they traveled, they went there, they cared about the area, and finally, they were self-aware. They cared about how the people in the East thought about them. Members of Congress need these exact same attributes. There's no substitute for a member of Congress in doing these things than traveling themselves.
I think what builds bridges are people, and people build bridges through economy and desire for a better life. Some of the art that we saw in the first panel, the earliest work was of traders looking to sell their goods. And the world isn't that much different today. When we're reporting on a story, we don't just go for the story, we go to meet the people. And what you learn is 99% of the people, probably more, simply want to get up every day and have a job and go to work and take care of their family. They don't want extremism. But it's the 1% that gets the attention.
You may not meet all the people, but when you poll 5,000 Arabs in North Africa and the Middle East and you organize them by country and by gender and by age, it's like opening a window and letting voices in. You hear them. One of the ways we've worked on the bridge building is to see what we know and what we need still to know.
Policymakers, it's not enough to get information. We can get all kinds of information from the internet. A lot of it is fact, a lot of it is fiction. Dialogue is about separating the fact from the fiction.
In the last 30 years, we've sent more money, sent more weapons, sent more troops, fought more battles, lost more lives, have more at risk than anywhere else in the world. To not know that world puts us at risk, and of course puts them at risk because of what we don't know.
You all can make a difference. You all are the reasonable people that can make a bridge of understanding an important component for the future. On behalf of my wife, Gigi, and myself, I just want to welcome you all here tonight. This is a very, very special night. Thank you all.
To me, this dialogue that Shafiq Gaber has launched is so essential, and it really is very simple. Let's talk to one another and not at one another, and Shafiq said it better than anyone else.
Dialogue, we must go there, we must talk, like the painters did. The painters, in order to paint the way that they did, really went and lived. They lived with these people. And when you look at their faces in the paintings, you feel you know this man. I've met this man, I've met this woman. I really know her.
And to use art as a point of departure so that people can communicate and better understand each other is brilliant. Because art invites interpretation, it requires subjectivity, it requires that you listen to other people.
Art first attracts our eyes, it opens our eyes, makes us begin to think and see.
I do think it's a communicator because I think it brings these worlds together and it makes us less frightened of each other when we can actually understand something in common.
A picture says 1,000, a picture can say 100,000 words. My favorite picture in Shafiq's collection is the shoes, the slippers sitting outside the mosque. Brilliant.
It's divine. This is gorgeous.
Today, the Voyager 1, which was built in 1977, left the solar system. Why did they build this? Because it was about discovery. It was about searching for the unknown. It was about doing something bold. And I believe that that is what Shafiq and Gigi are trying to accomplish as well. It's about human discovery. It's about interpersonal relationships, as you said, Shafiq, that are the key to everything. We learned something very important today, which is that there are enough people who care about this to pack the Temple of Dendur tonight. This is what it's about. It is kind of amazing that beauty can do that to you, make you interested in something that you may not have thought you would be interested in. Through Shafiq and Gigi's initiative, sending people both ways and making the relationships and talking to the individuals that are there is what builds the bridges. And you realize, at heart, we're pretty much all the same. We may not pray to the same God, believe in the same ideology, but as long as we're on this same planet, maybe when Voyager finds somebody out there and they come here, who knows, we'll all come together and realize that this is a common goal and a common purpose that we need to achieve. Because when you have a friend in another country the ideas that will bring us all together suddenly come to light.
Inspired by the artists that came to my part of the world, many of them American, my initiative is going to be launched right here in the United States, and will have the first exchange fellows in the US by May of next year. It takes people to make change. My hope is to give the next generation the opportunity to know each other so that such leaders with vision can emerge.